Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the best reading program for homeschoolers. It may not be a surprise for a lot of you, but the best reading program for homeschoolers in my opinion is All About Reading. So I've been doing All About Reading for about 4 years now. We're currently finishing up level 4 with my oldest, and so I thought it was time for a very thorough review. So I know it's been a while since I've done these reviews, and this one has been sitting in my mind for a very long time, but I really wanted to get a feel for the whole program, so that's why I put it off for so long. But we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna be talking about level 1 first. When my oldest daughter started homeschooling, when I started homeschooling her, she was having a lot of trouble reading. And we were using another program that is also very popular, but they did not use phonics-based instruction. And I think because of that is the reason that my daughter was struggling to read, was because that just wasn't the method that made sense in her mind. We went ahead and we ditched that program and we started with All About Reading. And we started at level 1. I went ahead and did the assessment, and she did place in level 1. And so that is why I started her in level 1. But I think either way, even if she had placed higher, I think I would have started her at level 1 because I just wanted her to have a really good reading foundation. So we went ahead and we started level 1 in 2nd grade. So now she's in 5th grade. And she's finishing up level 4. So it has taken us some time to work through all those levels. It's taken us basically about 4.5 years because she did work at a little bit of a slower level, but her reading is phenomenal now. So she's able to read at her reading level, and she's able to read pretty complex books. She can basically read the Bible on her own, which the Bible has a lot of hard words in it. So her reading has just taken off, and it didn't just take off. She's been reading really well now since she completed level 1. So we started in level 1 at 2nd grade, and level 1 comes with 3 readers. I have 2 of them here. I wasn't able to find the other reader. So these are 2 of the readers. The other one is Cobweb the Cat. And what I love the most about this reading program is that the readers align with what you're learning in the curriculum. So a lot of other reading programs can be really frustrating, which is something we experienced in the beginning of our homeschool journey. We were very frustrated when we would be learning something in the curriculum, but in the books, the readers would have words that were really hard. So it wasn't something that they had learned yet. So it was very discouraging. And I think a lot of other people have experienced that with those programs. So that's why they switched over to programs like this that are based on the Gillingham method. It's a phonics method where you learn all the sounds of a word and you learn how to decode words. And I really love that method. I think it's the best method to learn how to read. And because of that, I plan to use all 4 levels with all of my other homeschooling kiddos, which my second daughter is currently on level 2 of All About Reading. So I've done level 1 already with 2 kids, and it's been amazing. I really enjoy homeschooling with this curriculum because it's very easy to use. So I will show you guys what a lesson looks like. We can look at lesson 1 here, and it tells you at the top what letters you're going to be focusing on. So the first part of the lesson, the parent has to kind of just read. Maybe it takes about 1 minute to read what we're going to be learning about, and it really does help. I pretty much skip this now because the second time around I pretty much know what we're going to be doing. So I don't have to look at the before you begin section, but it is helpful for those who are new to the curriculum. This page here says new teaching. So you take out these cards. So every student gets a box. This is the box that every student has to have. It's a reading review box, and this is what it looks like. This is my oldest daughter's box, and as you guys can see, her box is crammed because she is on level 4. And this is not all of the level cards. So I've taken out some of the cards that she's already mastered and used from like level 1, level 2, and level 3. So I think in here, it's only part of level 3 and level 4 cards. And I've been able to reuse these cards. So for my other daughter, I bought her a reading review box, and the level 1 cards and level 2 cards are in her box. So as I finish with my oldest daughter and she finishes levels, I move her cards that she no longer needs to the other box of my daughter who will be using those next. So every lesson begins with a review of the cards. So the green cards are the word cards, and the yellow cards are the sound cards. And there's 3 tabs in each. So the first tab is the review. So anything that is behind the review are things that the child still hasn't mastered, and you're still reviewing those. Then is the mastered tab. So all of the cards behind the mastered tab are mastered cards. And then the last tab is future cards. So the future cards are cards that we have not yet used. So what we do is we look at the cards that we need, and I take those cards out. We go over them, and then I place them in the review. Even if they already mastered that card in that first instance, I still place it for review at least one more time. So again, we begin the lesson by reviewing. The parent or the teacher reviews whatever the teaching is for that day. Then you go over whatever cards are assigned for that day. So you do the new cards, and you can also review whatever's behind the review tab. So the next part of the lesson involves letter tiles. So this is how everything is taught in this curriculum, is using tiles. We used to have the physical tiles when we began this program, but we no longer use those. It became just too much to like keep up with. We were losing tiles. We didn't have room to store the big whiteboard eraser. So we just didn't like using the letter tiles. So what ended up happening is they actually came out with a app that you can use instead of having all the tiles, and that's what we use now. So we really like the app. It's very interactive. You have to drag all the tiles into like a board, and it also helps you sound out the tiles. So if you press a tile, it'll tell you the sounds for the tile. So we have really enjoyed using the app for it. It has made this program so much easier, and just easier to manage, because the program is easy to use. It was just harder to manage with the tiles. So in this lesson, you have 2 concepts that the children are learning. So the first concept is demonstrate how to blend sounds. So it tells you to build the word map with letter tiles, and then it tells you everything to do. And then the next one is play change the word. So this is a very common activity. You change the first letter of the word to make a new word, and you keep doing it, and your child just keeps telling you what the new word is. So then there's another concept being taught here, vowels and consonants, because this is the first level. Your child is learning what a consonant is and what a vowel is. And next you do an activity sheet. These are really easy and quick to do. So in this activity sheet, there was 4 words, and you cut them out, and the child just has to place the word under the correct picture. So I will show you guys the activity. Activities come in books like this, and you have to take them out. So what I did is I used a binder to store all of my activities. So this is the first level activity book. So I have a clear protector for every activity. And what I've actually been doing now is I no longer keep each activity in a separate protector. I just put everything for that lesson in one protector. So it has just condensed everything down. I haven't been able to do that to this activity book, but I'm doing that in all my newer activity books that we're currently using. So this is the first activity in level 1. Because I keep the activities in clear protectors like this, the kids can also write on them when an activity calls for that, and I can reuse them with future kids. So here are the pictures, and then they just go ahead and they read the word and they place it under the correct picture. So the activities are very, very easy, and we love them. We always do all the activities for the most part. I don't think we've ever skipped an activity in the reading program. After the activity is done, you have to practice your reading cards. So those are the green cards. And you go ahead and you take those out, and then you show them to the student, and then they read them. And if they've mastered them, again, I put them in the review, even if they mastered it the first time, because I want them to just practice it one more time. So they go ahead and I place those in the review so that we could do them one more time. I consider those words mastered when they can say them instantly, like within the second. So once they do that twice, that's when I consider the word mastered. And then at the end, it says read a short story or poem with your child. So they just call for you to like basically read aloud to your child, because that's very important for their reading skills as well. And we do a lot of read alouds in our morning study and in our history and science. So I don't do an extra reading here. And then you just mark your progress on the progress chart. One of the lessons will teach like concepts, and then in the next lesson you'll do another activity. So I'll show you guys what I'm trying to explain. Here in level 1, we can see that lesson 3 is where the stories began. And this is when you begin to read the readers. So you usually do like some kind of activity that relates to the reading. And then you read a warm-up sheet. And then you read the story. And as the child is reading the story, you have to stop at certain pages to ask them questions. What I do now is I mark those pages where I have to ask them questions with a sticky tab, so they know that they have to stop and look at me to see if I have a question, because it's much easier for them to know that they have to stop than for me to interrupt them and be like, oh, hold on. Because when they're reading, they're just going on and on. So I've done that. Read through the stories twice. So the first reading that they do with me is like their cold reading. Like they go ahead and they just jump into the story. We ask questions. Then when we have a lesson that doesn't have a story reading to it, and it's just concepts that they're learning, we'll go ahead and we'll reread the story a second time, and then I consider that story mastered. A lot of the lessons, especially in level 1 and level 2, I would say, are really long, so we do cut them. So what takes us a long time sometimes could be the practice sheets at the end of the lessons, where they have basically 1 or 2 pieces of paper front and back full of words, sentences, and phrases. And in the beginning, those do take a while. So I do those as a whole lesson by themselves. So basically, we just break up the lessons. And what a lot of people like to do is they like to put a timer for 20 minutes, and depending on your child's grade level. So if you have a kindergartner, like my youngest started level 1 in kindergarten, we would only do 15 minutes. But if your child is older and they're starting level 1, then you can do a little bit more. So we go ahead and we just work through the book till we're finished. So that's level 1. Level 1 is really just learning, you know, like CVC words and learning all the basics of reading, consonant, vowels, being able to differentiate between those two and master the sounds. But you don't master all of the sounds. You just master some. So then we move on to level 2, which my first grader is currently on. This is level 2 of the reading program. The thing I really like about this reading program that has made it so easy for us is that at the back they have a scope and sequence. So depending on how you homeschool, we homeschool through a charter, and they do ask us for like our scope and sequence, or every month we pick, like they pick a certain subject, and we have to tell them what we learned. So that's when the scope and sequence comes in handy, because I can just look there and I can look at the lessons that we did that month, and I can go ahead and tell them exactly what the concepts that were taught, like summarized, instead of trying to create my own summary. Level 3, all the manuals have this page here that tell you exactly what you need. So you need a student packet. The student packet includes the activity book and all the cards. I reuse all the student packets, so I don't have to rebuy those. Like I said, once my oldest daughter is done with her cards, I move them to the box of my younger daughter, who will use them in the future. And then the activities, I keep them in the protector sheets, and if they do have to write on them, then those sheets are protected, so I don't have to rebuy the activity books. As far as tiles go, we use the app, so we just reuse that over and over, and that cost us $20, and it's just a one-time payment that you give them, and you have it forever. So that's been really nice. So we have our activity book, our word cards and phonogram cards, our tiles, and then the progress chart, and you can print those off online. So if I start a new level with another student and we don't have a progress chart, I just go online and I print it off. And then your readers, and then just basic things like scissors and glue. Well, no, I don't think we've had to use glue, but like scissors, because you do have to do a lot of cutting. So level 3 gets a little bit harder, and you're starting to learn like other sounds, the harder sounds for words. And you're also doing, I'll show you guys the scope and sequence. So you're decoding harder words, and yeah, so level 3. And each level takes us about a whole school year. It definitely work at a faster pace, but I don't recommend it, because it can be mentally, like your brain is really working when you're using this program. So it can be draining, and it could just take the fun out of it, and your kid will not like to read. So here's level 4. This is the last level that we're working on this year with my oldest child. So after this, she won't have a reading program no more, which we're really excited about. A lot of parents have questions on like what to do after you finish level 4. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're just going to focus heavy on language arts. So grammar, punctuation, writing. We're just going to go straight into that. and building those skills up in her, because she did take a little bit longer to complete the reading program, which is fine. That's why we homeschool, so that they can work at the level that they're at. So once she's done with level 4, that's what we're gonna be doing. And she's already reading a lot of books. So during the homeschool year and even in summer, we really try to get to the library, and I try to pick out books that are basically at a 4th and 5th grade level, and that is what she reads. And she really loves reading. So I'm really happy with this program. I feel like because we did switch over from a program that was not working for us and we switched over to this program, she has truly enjoyed reading, and it has really helped us in our homeschool. It's an easy program to learn to teach, and everything is pretty much open and go. Besides preparing some activities, you do have to cut ahead of time, but besides that, it's a really easy program to use, and I'm very happy with it. I'm going to continue using this program with all of my kids, and yeah, so I'm really happy with it. So I really hope that you enjoyed this review of All About Reading. I hope it was helpful for you, and if there's anything that I didn't answer or any other questions that you guys have, please leave them in the comments. I really enjoyed doing these thorough reviews of curriculum. Back when I first started homeschooling, I didn't know anything, and I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned on the way. So if I could, go back, I would have just started with this program for reading, because the proof is in the pudding, and this program is just, it's amazing, and it's worked so well for both of my daughters, who are different learners, different type of learners. So I know that this is a very well thought out curriculum. So thank you guys again for watching, and please subscribe. Thank you.